So good afternoon, everybody. I'm very happy to be part of this panel because I think language learning is such an important part now, particularly of what Ireland should be about in terms of its membership of the European Union, probably the most important political and economic relationship that the country has. And I think, we all know that if you can speak to people in their own language, you have a much better chance of negotiating well, getting on well, and also getting a better understanding of what you're dealing with. And I think, to be successful also in the single market, it's very important to be able to speak languages. I mean, we tend, I think, to rest a bit on our laurels because English has become the lingua franca, particularly where I work. It wasn't always like that. When I joined first the European Commission, French was by far the most spoken language at the time, but that was when we were in a Europe of 12 and then 15, so things have changed a lot since then. But if I could just say, I mean, I think, we all know that Irish people have done very, very well in the EU institutions, but that really is beginning to come to a demographic cliff end, and we need to get more people into the EU institutions. And I'm afraid that requires languages. I mean, you need to be really proficient in 2 languages. We say satisfactory, but remember, it's a competition. There isn't a pass mark. We take the top performers. So if you're not more than, if you're not really basically almost fluent in 2 languages, you're probably not going to be placed very highly in the competition. I mean, that's the first thing. The second thing is now to get your first promotion in the EU institutions, you have to have a 3rd language, at least to be able to function in a 3rd language. So it's become tighter, more stringent, and I mean, maybe with the expansion of the EU, there's a lot of different languages around. So we really need to upskill our people. We need to treat language learning seriously. I think it was neglected for many years here, but I think we're on the right tracks. There's a lot of different initiatives from the Department of Foreign Affairs, as well as now learning languages at school level, which I know Tanya knows a lot, Karen knows a lot more about than I do. So I think things have changed a lot, and I think I have to commend DFA and the people who are working with also school students early to get them early acquainted with the language. I mean, that is the big difference, I think, between what happens here and, say, our colleagues on the continent who are much more exposed to foreign languages. So I think there's many reasons why we need to invest in foreign languages, and not least to maintain Ireland's influence in the European institutions. It's very important that we have a cultural mix, not just of Irish people, but across the board of all the different nationalities, to have an understanding of how people think about things, what issues could be very sensitive in a particular member state. I mean, there's a whole myriad of reasons why languages are important. Noel mentioned the sad statistics, and I think, we are more or less bottom of the class. I mean, if the UK was still a member of the club, we'd be probably ahead of them. So we miss them because they push us down to the bottom. But anyway, just to say that, we totally support and work. I have a person in my office who just does language promotion and works very closely with many of you on promoting languages, particularly in schools. He goes around the various careers fairs to encourage Irish people to think about this. I mean, any Irish person coming out with the language, however they learned it, is a potential European civil servant. We have to look at it that way. They can improve. They can, go for bringing them up to another level. But once they have a basic, they should be thinking along those lines and thinking that, and not to be defeated by the idea that they're not proficient enough. They need to work on it. So I'll give you one concrete example. I have a young Irish official who worked with me. She's now moved on, but she actually practiced learning how to use a French keyboard. so that so that when she was doing her concours, she was able immediately to use the keyboard that she needed to do the French part of her test. I mean, that's the concentration and level of dedication people, put in to just making sure they have all the elements aligned so that they can pass.